Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. So it's a pleasure to have you all with us again today for the Nigeria Azure Community DevOps Fundamentals live study session. So just a quick reminder that if you're yet to join our different social media groups and our different social media handles, please ensure you do so. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, make sure you like this video and make sure you also subscribe to this channel so you can get notified of any new recordings that we put out or maybe our future live study sessions. Also, I encourage everyone to go join the Azure Nigeria Meetup group, and that will allow you to be notified whenever we have any events that we've set up for the future. We also have our other social media handles that you can follow. So just a quick reminder in terms of what we're going through with the program. So today we have DevOps fundamental training. So we have Docker, Kubernetes with Azure DevOps, and we have an amazing speaker, Imoh Etuk, that will be walking us through that. So, and then next week, just a quick reminder that next week is when we bring all of these old CVs that we've been doing to a close. So next week we have Azure Storage by Promise Onwachukwu, and configuration as code, Ansible Chef and Puppet with Chiamaka or B2B. So I'm looking forward to all these amazing sessions. I think they're going to be awesome. But first of all, let me introduce our special speaker presenter for today. Hello, Imoh. How are you doing?
Hi, David.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And you?
Yeah, doing good. Thanks. So for many people that may not know, we have a website called azurenigeria.community, and Imoh is one of the main people. So we have other people like Joseph and Oluwadara that contribute to that, but Imoh is one of the main people behind that. And Imoh has been putting in amazing work, contributing to the community behind the scene. So again, just thank you very much for all the efforts that you put in on that, Imoh. Really appreciate it.
The pleasure is mine.
Yeah,
Thank you also.
no problem. So what are we going to be going through today, Imoh?
Yeah, we are going to be looking at Docker Kubernetes with Azure DevOps. And this section will expose us to the fundamentals of Docker, Kubernetes, and the wrap will be done through Azure DevOps portal. We are going to run a series of pipelines and build Docker images, and that would be awesome. So
Awesome. Awesome. So what I'll do is I'll just hand over to you. So if anyone has any questions for Imoh, please leave the questions in the chat window and we're going to read them out to him at the end. But right now, I'm just going to bring your screen live and I'm going to go back to the background. So
good morning, good evening, good afternoon to anyone joining us from any part of the world. Welcome to this section of Docker Kubernetes with Azure DevOps. This training is powered by Azure Nigeria Community and delivered by myself and Imoh Etuk. I welcome you all as you join me. So the course agenda, what we are going to discuss in this section is we are going to look at the planning for DevOps. We are going to get to know how you can plan DevOps journey for your organization or for your personal project. We are going to also look at the overview of Docker container. We are going to look at Kubernetes clusters and Azure Kubernetes service. We are going to be introduced to Azure DevOps as a whole, and we are going to run some demo section, and then I'll take question and answer in the end. So welcome once again to this wonderful section, and enjoy learning with me. Okay, so we go there. So so the focus is on Azure DevOps. There's a saying that said the best way to start is to start from the beginning. So I'm going to run you through some basics of DevOps and get to know what the DevOps itself, the word DevOps is. So we are going to run through that before we go into the training proper. Okay, so here we have DevOps. We all know DevOps as a combination of two words, development and operations. Before now, the two words were separated. And as the technology improved, the two together, and so and to form so as to ensure continuous integration and continuous deployment or delivery. So on this screen, we have DevOps as the people, process, and product to enable continuous delivery of value to our end users. From the explanation on the screen, you with a combination of people. When you combine human effort and the processes that has to be done, be carried out to achieve the Docker by itself with the sole aim of adding value to the end user is what DevOps is all about. And you can see from the screen also, DevOps is known as, is somehow sometimes regarded as a continuous journey. This is because why it is considered as a continuous journey is because it focuses on communication, collaboration, and integration between the software development team and the operation team and the business. These teams participate in participate together during the entire project lifecycle. You can see that the idea is to continuously get feedback in an effort to make improvement. So continuous integration, testing, the delivery and deployment, and feedback are some of the techniques used in achieving DevOps goals for any organization or for your personal project. So we move on to the next slide. You see the diagram here is when you heard of the word DevOps, the development and the operations come together to make up this word. So we have the planning stage and the build continuous. So before you move to the release stage, which has to do with the integration stage, then deployment and the operate, and then you get your continuous feedback. The diagram simply explains the definition I gave earlier. So in this place, you see that the development team are responsible for the planning of the whole project. After that, the build stage will come in, whereby all the build code will be built, and then after that, they will do what is called continuous integration. So the operation team who will now deploy this code and operate it, then return feedback to the development team. So that's how DevOps works. So we move on to into the other diagram, which has to do with this diagram is similar to the one I just explained. So you have the plan. The development team had the one who plan, create and verify that the package is okay. Then package this code through a pipeline and release it into the operation team, who will then configure the code and monitor the success of it. Then return feedback to the dev team and to the final consumer. So we have been hearing of CI/CD. So CI/CD, as it is something that has to do with kind of continuous integration and continuous delivery. It is a method to frequently deliver apps to customers. In this place, from looking at this picture, we have the build stage, and this stage is where the whole application process is compiled. After being compiled now, it will now put into the release stage, and where the operation team will now come in to start working on the code and verify it, ensure appropriate deployment that the sole aim is to achieve at the end of the day. So we will have this to look at this continuous integration and continuous delivery. We talk about the series of steps that must be performed in order to deliver a new version of software. Now you see from the diagram here, you have the build stage, which fall under the continuous integration. Then the testing the functionality of this code. Are they okay to be released? Then once you test the code, you match them together, and now that leads you to the continuous delivery, which automatically release the code to the repository. Then the continuous deployment will take place automatically, immediately. At the continuous deployment stage, you automatically deploy this code to production. As we progress, we're going to look at the various deployment environment, starting from the dev to the staging to the production environment. So as we progress, we will get to know that. So we move down to another slide, which has to do with how do you separate team. When the process of DevOps comes in, there's always need to separate the dev team and the operation team. Though they work together, but they also have to be separated for the goal of DevOps to be achieved. So we have here that we need to look at the availability of staff. Is one of the challenges that you face. how many staff will be available to be either the development team or the operation team. Then there might be a kind of disruption of current processes and procedures for the ongoing business or ongoing projects in your organization. If that is one of the challenges you need to face, you face too. So you have ways to overcome these challenges. When creating a team, you have to focus on the transformation. What is the aim of this transformation? You need to focus on the way you are going to transform the whole process to the DevOps world and to achieve the goal of DevOps. So we will look at the well respected in their area and subject area. So look at the team who are well respected in their subject areas, who knows what they do, and ensure that you know where they can fit in appropriately and put them there. So we have the internal and external and to the business. Those who are creative, who are also both internal and external to the business. So at the end of the day, you see that the transformation project can conflict with ongoing business, but through these ways to overcome challenges, you'll be able to overcome them and carry on your DevOps process successfully. So we'll move down to defining shared goals. Now the two teams are involved, which has to do with the development team and the operation team. So you have an avenue to project must have a clear defined set of measurable goals. When you are setting up the project, you must define the goals. Number one goal there should be that the reduced time spent on fixing bugs should reduce by 60% at least. So that will help. And also the reduced time spent on planned work should be by like 70%. Then reduce the out of hours work required by staff to no more than 10% of total working time. So remove all direct patching of production system. Now, one of the key aims of DevOps is to provide greater customer value. So our team should have customer value focus. So in all this, the goal of DevOps is to drive values to customers, to the end user. And with that, we are going to get to unveil as you explore DevOps along the way. So we get to another slide now, which has to do with which has to do with now when you setting up timelines for goals during DevOps process can help to achieve the goals of DevOps. So you have to measurable goals should have timelines that is challenging yet achievable. So all the goals should have timelines, though they might be challenging, but they should be achievable within that timeline. So we have the timeline should be a constant series of short-term goals, each clear and measurable. Short timelines have advantages because it's easier to change plans or priority when necessary. Because one is also it reduces the delay between time and between doing the work and getting feedback. It's easier to keep organizational support when positive outcomes are apparent. So these are the things that you need to know about when you are setting out goals to achieve your DevOps goal. So it is one of the things you need to know. And here we proceed to having known what DevOps is by itself, and we know that the whole of this, the title, the core aim of this training is focusing on DevOps. But we are going to just look at the component, the tools, the various tools that you need to make your DevOps journey successful. And one of them is Docker. So we'll be talking about Docker container, and talking about Docker container, we'll look at what containers are, and you get to know that containers and virtual machines, that the VM, are different. They are two different things entirely, in the sense that VM operate fully on operating system. While Docker doesn't have that, Docker container does not run on operating system, but it's an abstraction of the app layer that packages code and dependencies together. So that is how the DevOps work. If you look at it very well from the diagram, you see that each of the apps that runs on the virtual machine has an OS. It fully supports OS. So apps run on one app about 5 to 10 apps can share one environment when it comes to Docker container. So that's why Docker is more different. It runs your app faster than even the virtual machine. So you don't need to worry about the downtime when you are using Docker container. So that is the essence of Docker container. The virtual machine has a whole lot of objects to be made. So that can cause delay when it comes to when you're trying to achieve your goal for your business. So in that case, Docker container is preferred over virtual machine. So I will look at the Docker program. What is Docker? And you look at Docker according to the screen here, you see that Docker is a software containerization platform with a common tool set, packaging model, and deployment mechanism. It is a tool for running application in an isolated environment. Yes, you can have your app run on an isolated environment without sharing any platform with other apps. But each of them have a deployment slot that they run, and when they run faster compared to when you have a is for us to make it more practical, I'm going to show you how Docker container looks like, how the environment looks like. You see from my screen here, I've already have my Docker environment installed, my Docker desktop installed on my system. So you see here, as at now, there's no instance of image that's running. Containers are in fact, there's no instance of image that's running as at the moment. So that's why you're not seeing any of the Docker images that showed up. Like Docker image, I will throw more light on that. Docker image is something like it's a template for creating an environment for of your choice. Maybe it could be like something. You could create a Docker image from Ubuntu. You can create a Docker image from Nginx and other ones like that. You are going to get to see where we can get those images from Docker Hub. If you visit Docker.com to get those images, to build your Docker images. So you get to see from Docker Hub, we have a lot of images, and these images need to be pulled to your local window to have this to have it shown up in this place. You have to pull the images to the window to this environment. So as we open up this place, you have this. So now, if you have not installed your Docker desktop on your system, if you visit hub.docker.com, you'll be able to get the Docker desktop into your system. So from here, I've already have my own installed, which is this place. So and I have it running already. So as to enable deployment of because we are going to build an image quickly, and we have various images. Look at the list. We have the Nginx, the MongoDB, the Appin, and Node.js, Redis. We have other ones like that. So we are going to explore all other images. Like there are several images on the Docker Hub that you can use it to deploy your solution. So in this case, I'm going to be pulling Nginx into my local into my Docker desktop environment, whereby I will have the image run there. So this is the code to pull the image into my local system. I'm going to be using a command line to call a git batch. If you have any other one, I can use it. But in this case, I'm using git batch to pull my from the Docker Hub. So that is one thing I'm going to quickly. So we have our terminal. So I'm going to pull the image by issuing this command. Docker pull Nginx is the name of the image we are pulling from Docker Hub. So you simplify the image will start pulling and will be in our local system. So that is how to pull the image from and the version is latest. Whenever you're pulling a new image from Docker Hub, it will automatically give you the latest version of that image. So while that is pulling, I'm going to go back to our slide here. I'm going to also move to, while our image is pulling, we'll come back to the image when it's still pulling. So we have this window here to be we have the Docker. You can see that the Docker from the window, Docker greatly simplifies containerization and distribution of application. With Docker, you can run your application fast, and you don't need to worry about downtime at all. So we have a Docker image can be created from a Docker file. Then Docker file is an instruction kind of instruction issuing to enable your image to run. For you to build your image, you need a Docker file, which is an instruction. We are still going to get to know that as we progress. So let me quickly check if our image has finished pulling. So okay, still pulling, still downloading. So along the line, we move down to another slide because we have a lot to cover in this segment. So we move down to the second slide that has to do with the Docker versus the VM, and here is what I've already explained. So you see that each of the apps that runs on VM has its own isolated environment that runs from, while the app that runs on VM are totally dependent on the guest operating system to run. So that makes Docker very different and fast environment for you to run your app. So we have the Docker image, Docker container versus image. This attempt that needs not to be confused together. So we have a Docker, a container is a running instance of an image. As we are going to run our image now, you're going to see that each time you run an image, you're simply running an instance of each time you run a container, you're running an instance of image. So a Docker image is a template for creating environment of your choice. So we have already talked about that. For you to enjoy more of these images, you can visit hub.docker.com to access thousands of images. So that is where you can find it. So we move down to benefits of Docker, what I've already stated out, that you can run your apps in seconds. Container can run in seconds, and instead of minutes, less resources result in less disk space, does not consume, it uses less memory because it's a lightweight tools that does not require much memory. It is similar to VM, but does not require guest OS to run your app. App run in the same environment. That is thousands of apps can run in one environment. Does not need full OS. The deployment is easy. Testing is taking place as fast as possible. So we have that done. So having had that, so we have a now we like I was to throw a question then. For you coming to learn about DevOps and Docker today, I would like to ask you: do you currently use virtualization of any type? Do you prefer to deploy containers or virtual machines? So these are the questions that you need to also answer. As I was talking about Docker file, I created this file as an instruction to enable me to build Docker images from my own end here. So these are how Docker file looks like. So Docker files are text files that contain commands needed by Docker to build and assemble image. So it's an instruction given to Docker to build image that looks like this. It could be from Ubuntu, it could be from Windows, it could be from any other images around the DevOps and the Docker Hub community. So I'm going to quickly check our image. Yes, we see that our image has successfully pulled from the container from the Docker Hub. So now we're going to issue a command Docker ps to, or maybe Docker ls to list to give us the list of images that are maybe run. So we have this to, okay, let me start with you. So we have Docker. Yes, let's see Docker. So I want to get a list of running images. There's none for now. So that image has been pulled into our Docker environment. So we need to now build it to be able to get what we really want to achieve at the end of the day. So we will issue the image we pulled was an Nginx image. So we are going to run a command that will build this image now. So we are going to run this command down now that says we're going to go into a command line interface now. We issue Docker run. So we have command there. So the image we are running is now we specify the deployment slot. That is then we now specify the port that we need to use. After specifying the port, which is I already have Jenkins on my system that run on port 8080. So I'm going to use port 3. You can use any port. Then I will map it to port 30, or I can map it to port 30. Then the image name is Nginx that I'm just pulled now. Then the version is latest. I'm going to run the latest version. So if I issue this now, the image is supposed to, okay, that is the command is, okay. So we have to remove this latest. So we have latest version of the Nginx image that will run now. So this is, let's see. So while that is okay, it has started running. While that is running, let's go part two, I'd like to look at how Docker found, like, though we look at now the Docker build stage as I'm building now is what this slide is simply talking about. Multiple builds, stage builds. Keep the image size as small as possible. You don't need to have a larger size of your image. The image have to be very lighter and light as now the Docker image has finished building. So I'm going to check if that's now by issuing this command Docker is the or Docker image. Let's see. Let's use Docker image to see which of the image. If you have the image on a repository now, Nginx, letters, then if you have the image ID and it was deployed 2 weeks ago on the Docker. So you see, now that is how to create an image in Docker. So we have that in our container there. So if you go here, you see that the image has appeared. Then we'll go into our browser now. If you issue a local host, I'm going to issue this local host for 300, yes, 3,000. So that will load up the interface of Nginx for us. This is not okay. Let me see. That's running an error and it's supposed not to restore. So it's running. Okay. Docker. Docker run. We have that running. So let's see. Start. Then the image ID which is it. So we have to start this. We have this image here. And copy the ID, pass in the container ID. So you can see. So we go back to the slide now. And also having said about Docker now, what are the things we need to consider before for multiple stage build in Docker? So you have to look at adopt container modularity, yeah, and also avoid unnecessary packages. Choose an appropriate base. Avoid including application getter into your container. So you have to make it very light so that container you can run it in speed and in seconds. So having done that, we are still going to deploy a Docker image into Azure DevOps later in the day and run on packages. So we move down to Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, as we all know, is a word comes from Google. So we all know that Google coined the word in some of the years like that, and before the years it began to flow to other industries and gain a wide adoption. Kubernetes is different from Docker in the sense that it's an orchestration tool. So it helps you to have different apps and orchestrate it it's an open source container orchestration system for automating computer application deployment, scaling and management. A platform for managing containerized application workloads and services. It facilitates both declarative configuration and also Docker will help you to like while having Kubernetes, there are many components. We have a lot of features that can help you to run your application in different ways and make it faster than even compared to Docker. Then we have the self-healing component. That feature will help you to restart your app when it fails. You don't need to worry about anything because when you set up your app in a Kubernetes environment, you just go to sleep because anything that happens in Kubernetes will automatically start the app and fix all the bugs that can happen. So we have that already. So we have our now moving on. We have this is how Kubernetes in architecture looks like. So we have port 1, port 2, port 3. So, and we have all these components of Kubernetes that help you to deploy your app. You can deploy inside while Docker runs an app in a single node. Kubernetes helps you to split your app into different nodes, into multiple nodes, and you can have about one set of Kubernetes environment to run Docker container up to 4 or 5, with different pods. Each of the pods has containing a container on it. So that's how Kubernetes is very, very important. So we have some benefit here. Self-healing, as I said, when you set up if there's any fault that comes up, Kubernetes will fix it by itself and reschedule the container nodes. It kind of, if the node dies, the Kubernetes will fix it and reschedule the node already. Then kill the container that don't respond to user defined health check. So that is how Kubernetes self-healing can work for you. Automatic rollbacks. If there's maybe progressively, Kubernetes helps in rolling back changes to your application or its configuration while monitoring the application health, and to ensure it doesn't kill your instances at the same time. So that's how Kubernetes works. And we also have the scaling feature that scale your application ups and down with a simple command and with a UI, or automatically based on a CPU usage. You can scale your Kubernetes helps in scaling up or down your app to fit the business purpose that you need. There's a load balancing feature that helps you to balance traffic between all the components of your app that runs on Kubernetes. Then we have the storage orchestration. It automatically mount the storage automatically. You don't need to mount storage by yourself. Kubernetes will do that for you. So the load balancing feature does not need you to modify your application or to use an unfamiliar service discovery. So it helps you to balance everything by itself. So we move down to some of the components. We have the web UI, which is the dashboard, the user interface that you see. So we have that, and we have the kubectl, is the command line in tools for Kubernetes. If you want to run Kubernetes on your local system, this is the command line tool that you use to work with. Then the etcd is one of the features of component of Kubernetes for storing all of the clustered data. All your data is stored in a etcl, and that helps to keep your key value store safe in Kubernetes. So we have the worker nodes. Nodes where the application runs in Kubernetes cluster. So the worker node where your application runs, also known as minions, is one of the when we have the master node, and the worker node is one of the component that your app will run. Then we have the kubelet primary node agent runs on each node and with the container manifest. Kube proxy, we have the kube proxy here, it provides network proxy and load balancer. Ports a group of one or more containers deployed to a single node, and we have the deployment blueprint for the ports to be traced. That is how Kubernetes is the component that can help you to achieve your goal. And we move down to another slide because we are looking at our time and we need to catch up with the time. So we have Kubernetes, first of Docker. So in terms of Docker, you see that Docker has the speed of scalability, and this installation and configuration in terms of Kubernetes is more difficult than when it comes to Kubernetes. Kubernetes is harder, kind of complicated than compared to Docker. Docker is simple to set up, while Kubernetes is it demands high skill and a kind of high level technology to be used to deploy Kubernetes. Then we have the total scaling feature here. GUI is the same, both of them have GUI. Just as I run Docker desktop, so auto scaling feature is there. Then both of them has updates and rollbacks. Then we have data volume logging and monitoring is also what Kubernetes is. Then Kubernetes is more extensive than Docker Swarm because and it's meant to coordinate clusters or nodes at scale in production and in an efficient manner compared to Docker. So Kubernetes is very important for your deployment job when it comes to DevOps. So we have Kubernetes in short. You use Kubernetes with Docker too. When you combine them together, just as we are going to try to see how we can combine them when we get to the demo section of this training. So we know that make your infrastructure to be more robust and your app more highly available. Your app will remain online, even if some of the nodes go offline. So make your application more scalable when you combine the two of them. If your app starts to get more load and you need to scale out to be able to provide a better user experience, it's simple to spin up and more containers and or add add more nodes to your Kubernetes cluster. So it is best combined when you use them together. So we'll go into the Azure Kubernetes service. What we are talking about, when we talk about Azure, because Microsoft, this passing on Microsoft Azure, and we talk about Azure Kubernetes service, that takes us to where we'll be able to create the AKS on Azure portal or CLI. So we would have that Azure Kubernetes service, a robust and cost-effective container orchestration service that helps you to deploy where additional resources are assigned automatically without the headache of managing additional server. Yes, that's how functional Azure Kubernetes can help. How can help you to scale your application without managing underlying servers. You don't care about servers. All you need to do is put up your app there and to help you to manage and run it for you. So Kubernetes service is the standard of container orchestration. As a hosted Kubernetes service, Azure has maintenance, so you don't need to worry about anything. So we can create it either through the Azure portal or using the CLI command or PowerShell. So we're going to run and we quickly create our Azure Kubernetes so that we're able to achieve that what we need to do when we get to Azure DevOps. So we have a visit azure.com. So I see how you can get that. So we go to Azure portal now. So I have to sign into my account. While that is done, I have to enter my credentials. Quickly create that and I'm going to sign in. While, while I'm being signed in, I need to move fast to how you can deploy Kubernetes cluster using the Azure portal. This is the step here. So we are going to just quickly run the demo here. So I go to my portal. While I'm in the portal, I have to the web page is still low. So while that is done, while that is loading, we move down to Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps is one of the software as a service that is provided to you and business by Azure. So it is one of the environment that you can use to deploy your code, run your pipelines, and even host your code there. To say we have the components, the various components that make up Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps, we have like Azure pipeline, Azure reports, and Azure reports, and Azure test plans, and Azure artifacts that will help you to run your code. So we have the tab on the screen. So now we move down to this has opened up. So we're going to quickly create our Azure Kubernetes service. So we'll use it and progress in the training. So we get to the all service, get the resources for Azure Kubernetes. This is service. So I'm going to create it from create. So we'll have so I have my subscription here. I'm going to create the resource group because I don't have any program. So I'm going to say AKS demo AKS demo RP. So I'm going to create it now. But the resource group is where all your resources will be stored. So I'm going to give the name as AKS demo. So use any So that is where zone here is availability zone here. Okay, up to 1 to 3. So we have the node here. So I'm going to go to the pool. Can go ahead and create everything will be set up automatically. So that is just to save our time. So we move down to Azure DevOps. While discussing Azure DevOps, you look at the various components that can help you to scale your app very quickly and achieve your aim. So that while that is being created, I'm going to. So now we have, you see, from Azure DevOps, we have the various components that helps you to achieve your goal. Like when it comes to Azure DevOps, we have Azure Bots, and Azure Bots. Let me extend my screen. So we have Azure Bots. Azure Bot is fully integrated with end-to-end traceability for your code. So it is where all the services are run, and you are able to achieve your goal when you run out. It is for you to package your. This is where you plan and track all the changes and all the processes in your code and across all the platform that you need to do. If you want to deploy something from the dev to QA and to the staging and to the production environment. So it is where you manage all those things and trace the changes. Then Azure Repos is scalable to anything. It is an unlimited cloud and hosted private gate whereby you can host your code. All the codes are there on the Azure Repo. So it can also be you can host your code there, and just as we use the GitHub, you can as well host your code in a kind of version control that can serve the purpose of like GitHub. So Azure Pipelines is highly available, multi-region and hybrid cloud and on-prem. You can also have it. It's where the real CI/CD is carried out, where you can run your CI/CD and get your real-time results. And where this Azure test plan is where you test your code if it's working. This is where customer support comes in, and the test management and the exploratory testing helps you. It provides you with the toolkit to test your code and make sure that it's working. Then the artifact is that you can create an artifact from any host. You can create it from any programming language. If it's not only that you press an artifact from .NET, you can create it from other languages, other NuGet packages from maybe Python, PHP, any of the languages you can create. So that's how Azure DevOps works. And from the you can see that Azure DevOps is something as a service platform from Microsoft that provides an end-to-end DevOps toolchain for developing and deploying software. So through Azure DevOps, you can deploy your software at scale and as you want it to be. So that is how Azure DevOps works. So we have a let's quickly check out our deployment. Okay, that has been created now. So when we move down to this other slide, then we have what can Azure DevOps do for you. We have Azure Board. This is where you plan your work item and then track all the virtualization and reporting tools are provided for you at this interface. So you have Azure Pipelines is a language platform and cloud agnostic CI/CD platform with the support of virtual containers and Kubernetes. So this is where all this thing falls under. So we have Azure DevOps. Just as I said, it's a private cloud hosted where you can host your code. Just as Git repo is a private Git platform where you can host your code. Then Azure Artifacts provide an integrated package management with support for Maven, our NPM, Python, and NuGet packages fit from public or private sources. Here you can create any package from using any of the platforms, either Node Package Manager or Python or anyone. You can use the .NET framework also. Azure Test Plan provide an integrated plan and exploratory testing solution for your code. So we move down to let's quickly check if our deployment okay, yes, it has successfully created. Then the Azure Kubernetes has been created, so we make it so as we move on. So we move down to migrating or integrating existing work management tools. Azure Dev can help you to integrate this thing. So we want to move faster to where we can have now this is how the Azure DevOps tools and lifecycle is. We have from the one year where the customer comes with his or her requirement, and the business analyst and product owner will translate that requirement into backlog. And engineering team will start sprint and capacity planning immediately. Then you have from this diagram, you see that the thing is split according to stages. They have from the dev team and the QA team and the staging team stage, and we get to the production team. And we pass through all these processes, and that's what Azure DevOps can help to do. Then we have Azure DevOps organization. Before you sign up for Azure DevOps, we are going to quickly visit our DevOps. We have that. Going to quickly so that we can set up our organization and get our first project on the DevOps, then push the project, then we run it up for the section. Now, so we have to sign into Azure DevOps. So while it's loading, so we have a look at the Azure organization. Azure organization is like it's a tool for organizing and connecting groups of related projects. All your projects are being organized by under Azure organization. In fact, it's like a building or a container that holds all your projects together. You can have up to 5 projects under one organization, and you can have a room to create people manage your project for you under project setting and all that. All these are what we are going to see. Then we have assigned to my Azure portal, Azure DevOps portal. So I've already had an organization. If you are just signing up for the first time into Azure DevOps, you are going to be prompted to create an organization. I have already created my organization as Imoh Etuk here. So I'm going to quickly do our project name to be like a Docker demo. Let's just use a name. So the description is not compulsory. You can either choose to make it, the visibility could be public. Public, anyone on the internet is going to see it. Then private will be only the people you have access that have access to your project will be able to see it. So we move down to create we create the project. So after that, while the project is being created, I'll quickly run through this. Now, if you want to get what we get with free Azure DevOps is that we have like 5 free users with basic assets and unlimited Visual Studio subscribers and stakeholders, free monthly amount of additional services. Now that the subscription I'm using to run my own Azure DevOps now is the subscription I have it under my Azure subscription, and it's being tied into my Azure Active Directory. So that is why I have access to the Azure DevOps portal, and I'm going to show you that these are the components that we discussed. We have Azure board, repos, and Azure pipelines and test plan, then artifacts. Then I'm going to deploy a pipeline so that we can have that run. So we have this now. Our project setup created already. So we go back to, you can use any command line to, I'm going to quickly go to Azure. Our code now, my code is posted on GitHub. So I'm going to quickly explore the code and build the Docker image immediately. And get the image that has the image listening on this. Okay. This is link I am supposed to quickly our image from the Docker file with a code with the Docker file from the GitHub and link it up to Azure DevOps to be able to build our first image using Azure pipeline. So this is the link that I'm going to get the file with the Docker image and GitHub. So right. Okay, so I'm going to fork this to my own repository to be able to have access to it. So this is my GitHub account. I'm selecting my own account. So while that is done, I have my code already here. So I'm going to go back to Azure DevOps. Under our project, we have our project already here. So what I'm going to do is to go to Azure pipelines. Okay. I'm going to go to Azure pipeline here. If you want to have you can use this under this DevOps, the repo is empty. So you can bring in your code, or you can clone it into your local system, or you can push your code from your local system to this, or you can import it directly from GitHub. So I'm going to run my pipelines by going into the pipeline section. So I'm going to quickly run that so that I'm going to get the code from. I'm going to create my first pipeline. I'm going to get my first pipeline created. So our code is hosted in GitHub. So I'm going to ship that. So which of this is the first repository. So I'm going to grant access by entering my GitHub credentials. So I'm going to approve. So to take me back to Azure DevOps, where I was the keys. So what that's so you can see we are building a simple image, and we are going to push select that Docker. Yeah. So validate and so the YAML file is going to load out. So you see here we have our YAML file, and we are going to quickly. The master is where all the build will be triggered from. Then the source is saved, and we have the image to be the Ubuntu latest. Just as I was talking about the Docker image, then we're going to save and run our test pipeline. Then the commit message is set up CIs with Azure pipeline. So I'm going to commit it directly to the master branch. I'm going to save it and run. That will run our first pipeline. Let's see. So I'm going to quickly. So our pipeline is being built. While it is being built, so we have to wait for it to finish. So while that is for because of our time, I'm going to quickly move down to where, as you can see, it's running fast. I'm going to quickly move down to where we can create some deployment environment for our Kubernetes infrastructure, Kubernetes cluster. So the environment is here. I'm going to quickly create the first environment you can deploy your code through is the dev environment. So we have the Kubernetes are going to be as a environment to select. Then I've already created my Azure Kubernetes service on Azure portal. I'm going to select that, including it's trying to load up the subscription that is linked to. It's going to prompt me to also sign in and I'm escape. So we have Imoh here. That's the one. So I'm going to select, I've already have my community created. So I'm going to select the new, because I'm creating a new environment. The name is going to be dev here. I've been given an email that the build is successful. Yeah, build succeeded. So it is the build that I've set up under the pipeline section. We're going to quickly look through that. Please, if you have questions, drop them at the chat section. Your question answered later. So our dev environment created. So you can as well create a different environment. I've already created the dev now. So I'm going to create another one called the QA. This environment are what your code will go to before getting to the production stage. That's why the environment is very, very important when it comes to when you are running your CI/CD pipeline and run all through this stage. So the QA environment is what I'm creating now, validate and create. So that our pipeline has run successfully. We're going to open this in a new tab, so we're going to build that. So we have got a QA environment and as a QA quality. I'm going to create the staging stage, staging environment now, selecting Kubernetes. So our pipeline has succeeded. So if you look at the code now, what we are after is the Docker image that you will see, the Docker file in the build. So you see that we have the image that is built from the build stage. It builds the state and initialize the whole of the process and check out from my own this GitHub account and come to the build image. This is how the processes that the image went through to be built. These are all the code that is there. Look at it here. So we have that. Then we have the post job, and finally it finalizes the job. So that's how to run a simple pipeline on Azure DevOps and have it posted. So we have the environment and created a staging, okay, staging environment. So we have a question there. I'm checking through the question. Okay. So we have the staging environment. So now I'm going to quickly create the production environment. This environment are where your code will go to progress into the final. Product. Okay. So, so we have that created. So after that, we are going to add the name of this our project. So we are going to create a default environment which has to be the name of the project we are trying to do, which is then we have to select Kubernetes. We are going to use the default, yes, default in namespace. So we have to add a source under project Kubernetes. Next, select the first option, then cluster. Then we have this to do the depth. Select validate. So we have that all the environment created. And now what we're going to do is to go to the project setting quickly and set up the service connection. The service connection is going to be Docker. So that's how this simply is to tell us that you can set up Docker and Kubernetes and they can connect together. So our time is, I'm going to select a new service connection here. I'm going to do Docker registry. Yes, Docker registry. So I'm going to set up, I've selected that. I'm doing Docker. This is on and off. This is requesting for ID. So go with, let me try on Docker registry. Docker ID. That's not available. So we are going to select Azure Kubernetes from Azure Container Registry. So we make use of our listing, our Kubernetes cluster that we created on Azure portal quickly. So we get to authenticate this once again. So while that is being created, I just want to show us the different environment that your app will go through the CI/CD process. So we are going to give this name Docker connection, Docker connection gateway. So the description you can grant. Let me just give this as grant partner. Out my history on the commercial portal. Okay, well that is not happening. So I'm going to just show you that we have created already on the Azure portal. So that is now, and it is done. So I'm going to in your project you're going to set up the build will succeeded to 100%. So because of our time, we have already exhausted 1 hour time allotted to for take through our system. These are the deployment status of Azure Kubernetes. At least we have been able to see how we can pull an image from a Docker image from the Docker hub and also build a first CI/CD pipeline on Azure DevOps and create the actual Kubernetes and the Azure portal. Then we only left with the connection between the DevOps and the Docker and Kubernetes, which is supposed to be done yet, but the registry could not be pulled out from Azure portal. So in case if you have any question, then you can let me check if there's question. Mr. David, are you there?
Hello, Imoh. That was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I am here. So please don't leave your questions in the chat window for Imoh before we bring this session to a close. So thanks very much for that. That was very useful, very very useful. So while we're waiting to see if there's any question that comes up from delegates that have attended. So very quick question here. So in terms of, do you see more people adopting containers versus just deploying their application as code in environments? Are you seeing more move towards that? Or what's sort of like the balance? Do people still even deploy their code directly not using containers?
Uh, I don't think so. A lot of people have moved down on to using containers to deploy their code because it's one of the, as I said, it's one of the fastest means of deploying your code to the cloud. So a lot of people are adopting the container process now.
Nice. And if someone has seen your lovely demo today around Docker and Kubernetes and how that works with Azure DevOps, and now they can use that to automate the whole process, and they say, Imo, I want to learn more of this, what would your suggestion be to them?
The suggestion would be that they should either they reach out to the community and have a special section set up for them. That is the way I would suggest for them because they need to go further. Because of our time, I could not catch up with a lot of the linking up the connection. There are a lot of things to be done here, but our time is fast spent. So they can book up a session with the community team and we will organize that for them. And I'll be available to deliver more on this.
That's awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, again, always remember, if you're here to join like the meetup group, do you have like a Twitter account that we can put on the page for others to join, to follow you on Twitter, so they can also reach out to you in case they have any questions?
Okay, yes, I have my Twitter. Let me drop it. Okay, my
Yeah.
Twitter name is at I am really more. I am real
Okay.
emo. Real emo.
I am Real Imo. So let me look for that.
Real there. Okay.
Found you now. So I'll go ahead and put Imo's Twitter in the chat window. So please, if you've watched the lovely demonstration that Imo has given, and you sort of want to follow up maybe for more clarifications or anything, please do go ahead and follow him on Twitter, and also join the community meetup, and you can always follow up with other aspects to that. Yeah. So yeah,
Thanks.
so probably like the other thing will be so the final question will be in terms of what kind of test can people do before they start thinking of maybe releasing their containers into a production environment. What sort of test would you suggest that people look at doing?
Like a quality assurance test of the to ensure the authenticity of the code, that the code meets that. Like I was creating an environment here, and because of our time, we could not meet up to the QA environment is where the code will be tested fully to ensure that if it is passed to the staging environment and then lead to the production. I believe the quality assurance state test is one of the tests generally adopted for certifying the quality of code. Does that
Us.
answer your question there?
Yeah, it does. We really, really appreciate that. Again, it's been an awesome session. And I am telling you right now, you do have an amazing teaching gift. The way you really took your time to really explain things was awesome. So thanks very much for sharing your teaching gift with us. So really
Yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah,
So for people asking about Imoh's LinkedIn, I've just put Imoh's LinkedIn in the chat window. So you can reach out that way also. Okay, so that'll be it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us today. So we've gone through like the Azure Administrator and also the DevOps Fundamental. So next week will be the final session in this two series. So and we have two amazing sessions with you next for you next week with Promise Nwachukwu and Chiamaka also will be speaking. So do make sure you join the sessions next week. We also have a session on Azure AI Engineer at 6 o'clock tomorrow. So please do make sure that you join that and learn about AI. But for now, Imoh, anything that you want to say before we call it a day?
okay. Yeah, what I have to say is the apologies for the short section we have. We will have done a lot of demonstration and how this thing works, how Docker and Kubernetes can help you in your code process, in your code deployment, and how you can help you succeed in your DevOps journey. But due to our time, just as you have said, David have said, reach out to me after this so that we can shed more light on that. Thank you very much for joining us, and I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Bye bye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.